Good evening and welcome here to another show of ESV. It is Halloween right now. We're going to be talking, well, about Halloween because that's what we do, right? We got the King here with us and we've got our Lucky Lady Leprechaun, formerly known as Nikki, but glad to have you as Lucky Lady Leprechaun. It is seeing that you are in the spirit and we like that. I'm going to start with you, lady. I haven't seen you in a while. How have things been going? I know you've been through a lot of stuff that would make a horror movie on its own.
Yeah. No, I'm just I'm doing good, like surprisingly, all things considered, but like yeah, healing from a couple of back surgeries and yeah, being all, on their happy juiced up pills and stuff, but
Happy
yeah, I'm
pills are
just
fun.
yeah, but no, yeah, yeah. I,
Yeah, but no, yeah, we like those happy pills.
Yeah,
yeah,
They're
but
worth it.
I'm not a big, like, for people who know me know that I'm not like a big pill person per se. Like, if I have to be hurting to be taking it, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, I just I don't
Well, it's
like
worth a try sometime. Get used to it, get in the groove. Sometimes it can make life so much easier.
no.
Bill, how have you been? How has your Halloween been?
it's not the same, Keith.
That's actually exactly
Aw.
what I wanted to get into. Who really feels like Halloween this year, or for the last few years for that matter?
I totally didn't. I didn't put any Halloween decorations up. It just
I
didn't
didn't either
feel
this year.
it. I was not feeling it. Are you not feeling it, Bill?
Well, the sign on the door over here says "Go away, I throw rocks." So
Hmm. Halloween's supposed to be one of the best holidays, though. I mean, it used to be my favorite holiday by far.
It was mine
well,
too. Yeah, mine too. Like, look, like, I'll dress up at the best of them. I am all for like getting to be a different character, and nobody's looking at me sideways for it. But I don't know. It's
Happy
just,
Halloween, Rhonda.
oh,
Good to see you. Hope you had fun tonight. Hope you had fun. What, including for people in the chat, what is Halloween still? Do you feel does it mean anything to you anymore? Is it that you've lost the feeling of the meaning of Halloween, or do you think the world around us has kind of ditched us when it comes to Halloween?
yeah, a little bit, because less and less people participate in neighborhoods as a whole. Like, you see less and less people who are participating, but you're also seeing more and more trunk or treating happening. And so maybe our kids getting their fill in those places, which I'm all for too, in a sense. It's kind of like a controlled chaos, right? And you,
I am actually. I think the trunk or treating is a good idea for what, as far as I remember, it was originally developed for, which was daytime kindergarten stuff like that.
yeah,
Like the very young kids or kids that had to be held with their mom, and they'd go and they. I thought that was really cool.
yeah.
But it's now taking away. I talked to a lot of adults. No, we're going to take them trunk or treating here, and we're talking, 10 to 16 years old. You know,
Well, my 16-year-old was out trick or treating with his friends, but I would rather them be out there trick or treating, like laughing and joking around, wanting candy, versus out trying to find the nearest party. Or, you know what I mean? Like, I would
that's what I
rather
say.
be kids, like, be kids.
People say that you're too old to go trick or treating at a certain age, and there is a certain age you're too old, but it's not in your teens.
Yeah, no,
Maybe after 18 you can start to wind it down. But think of the alternatives of what your teenagers will be doing if they're not having fun trick or treating, like you just
exactly,
said.
exactly. Like,
right.
it gives me hope that children still do have that innocence, still, like, like Halloween in school, you get the party and you get to dress up, and you, like, nowadays they do parades, and they make it fun and it's special, and it should be like, you want your kids to have special moments, but it still seems different in the neighborhood.
Well, Rhonda here, right in with that, says she spent 3 weeks setting up her yard, $100 in candy, had about 12 kids.
Oh man.
And that's the problem. And that's when I first moved out here, I started handing out candy to kids and stuff like that. And it dwindles in numbers.
But I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. I think I have a small theory, and that is, like, you see more and more neighborhoods kind of duplicating Tilson Street. You got Coleman Street in Clinton Township that has gradually been building for years, and like, neighbors, it's an awesome setup. They have about 7 or 8, maybe more houses of people who are participate, and they're dressed in costume out there, and they're like ready to scare people, and it's like bringing back the spirit of Christmas, or I mean of Christmas, of Halloween. And like my son called me, he was cutting through, like just being an adult. He's 19. He feels like the essence of Halloween. He wanted to be out there and enjoying it, but too old to trick or treat. So he was just kind of like, I don't know, driving around. We'll just say.
Well, the idea, like the Tilson Street and stuff, is good, and I think it's really a cool event to go to. You know, when these blocks get together and do these magnificent setups all the way down, and everybody gets there. But that existed when we were kids too.
Yeah, but it's
You know,
away from the people who are participating in the handing out the candy, because people are going now, they're seeking out not just candy, but like an experience. Give us an experience too, and we're coming to you. So like these streets like Coleman Street and Tilson Street are getting overly crowded, like bumper to bumper traffic, and nobody's like walking street to street, going house to house.
but that's where the fun is, and
Yeah.
it's the parents taking it away. And I mentioned to Bill earlier at one point, I'm like, do you think it's odd that we're currently training our kids to go up to strangers' cars for candy?
Right.
Do you,
Right.
Is there not some issue there?
There is. What would that be? It's not it's not ironic.
It's irony, yeah, it's ironic.
In a way, but
That's the one thing we're trying to make it safe when we're teaching our kids to go up to cars to get candy.
Right.
That's definitely irony.
Yeah, an
At work.
oxymoron, if you will, too, because you're like, no, don't go to the strange man in the car who wants you to see his puppies, but you can go get candy from his trunk.
What about you, Bill? Do you hand out candy, or did you do anything like that, or did you stop recently, or been a long time?
I always have. I mean, but you get less and less kids all the time,
Rhonda,
just because they go trunk or treating, they do this or that, or
Oh, we lost you, Bill.
out there I am. You
There
get
you
a
go.
street where no one's handing out candy other than two people. They don't even want to go down the street.
exactly. That's what I was about to say in my long.
That's my problem. I moved in the middle of a cul-de-sac, and
Yeah.
like everywhere around me has kids, but I had to really, like, every year outdo my house to bring kids in so they could see it from a distance
Yeah.
and want to come down to the street.
Yeah.
If you didn't, you just had a porch laid out or something, they don't come down there. It's almost a laziness thing. Sometimes the parents don't want to drive. They got a set route because they drive them now. Do you think it's still safe to trick or treat? I mean, everybody has put so much emphasis on safety and check your candy. Now they're saying if you don't know the brand, throw it away. If you didn't do this, throw it away. Because I don't think it's the issue. That's all based on myth and urban legend.
Yeah, I was about to say it's like when you hear like, oh, but you better check it, better do this, that, the other, you're hearing news, and they are famous for fear mongering, and just that's how they build, their viewers, which is strange in its own way, but there's nothing to fear. Like, that's why Halloween is going away, like, because everybody is being made to fear it, and there's nothing to fear. I mean, there are creeps out there, though, so sure, check your...
But there always were creeps. If anything, there's a lot less creeps now when it comes to this kind of activity.
Yeah.
Because everybody is so into security. They got cameras around their house. People are watching all the time.
Yeah.
We didn't have that when we were a kid.
No.
And we still just got let out, come home at dusk, do whatever, have fun for the night.
Yeah.
And we had a great time. We hung with our friends. We were almost always in a group.
Yeah.
And parents forget that's the memory you should pass down, not a watered down version of your own.
Exactly. So we're kind of like, I don't know, like, feel like my kids have missed out or are missing out. What did she say?
She says, I think that's correct. Drugs are too expensive to give to kids. And you're right.
So,
And actually, there's logic there, too.
yeah,
Because
I mean, in very rare theories could I even see it happening, but you are so right. Like, yeah, people are saying, here you go, kiddies.
Well, it used to be, like I said, Keith, I talked about earlier, it used to be, you went to the police station, they scanned your and your candy for
Yeah.
razor blades and pins and whatever. Now the cops are advertising on TV. Okay, well, and like he said, if you don't know the brand of this or it's not branded or anything like that, you take it, throw it away because of the fact that you're shaping ecstasy and
Fentanyl.
methamphetamine, everything else in the world in fentanyl in different shapes, little
Yes,
teddy bears, and they look like Pez pieces
Yes.
and stuff like that. Well, talk about the thing. When I was little, all right, in Hazel Park, you knew where to go trick or treating or whose house to just to avoid
Yeah,
because
you
they
know
were
your
assholes.
neighbors. You know your neighbors.
There's certain houses you just wouldn't go up to anyway.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
they look like crack house.
Exactly. So, and it's again, it's like, I mean, I don't know why more people aren't doing it. Like, are we not out getting to know our neighbors? Like, is
No,
that
nobody
weird?
likes to know the neighbors anymore.
Yeah, it's not like back in the 70s and 80s. Like my parents were friends with our neighbors. They played cards with our neighbors, and
Right.
you know, like there was like neighbor activities because of it.
Sorry,
You
showed
don't-
the label. There we go.
You don't see a lot of that anymore.
So what about parties and stuff like that? Are they the same?
No, we went to a party. Either they are very much not the same, or I'm just very much too old. I'm not sure.
No, fuck off.
Combination. But we went to a party, and aside from the people hosting the party, it just felt very lame.
Well, people don't even want to dress up anymore. I'm noticing that more and more. They'll go to these Halloween parties. They just don't want to dress up.
Yeah, there
and
were
they
quite a few. Their costumes were like questionable. If it was,
or they put a pair of horns on or something,
Yes,
or cat
right.
ears,
right,
something like that. Oh, and that's their outfit.
right.
And I don't.
Even if they go to the bar parties and stuff like that, they're setting up their situation where they're just going there for the costume contest.
Yeah,
And they're jumping to the next bar, next bar. No one's hanging around and talking to each other and having a good time. They're just running to try to get some cash.
Exactly.
And that's part of it too. I think why some people aren't dressing up is the offensiveness that we've come across now.
Yes.
You're not allowed to dress as certain things, and there's lists of costumes of which are too offensive for people.
Uh-huh.
I am tired of offending every fucking person on the planet.
Yeah.
This is gotten way out of control and overboard.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I agree 100%. And there's been instances where I have been in situations where I didn't know how to respond to the person because I specifically didn't want to, like, you know, them to get all upset or anything. It's uncomfortable. I don't like feeling uncomfortable like that. Like when I'm talking to somebody, like I just want to know that you might not be calling the cops on me because I offended you so deeply that, you know, you want me to go to jail or something.
Well, that I was going to do, because, you know, I'm a celebrity diva usually every year for the big Halloween party. I ended up doing Boy George this year, and it was completely out of the fact of, like, I wanted to do Whitney Houston. And everybody's in it, and everybody gets it with the black on your face. I can't do that. Wait, she died. You can't do that.
Yeah.
There's so many reasons you just can't do it.
Yeah.
It's fucking Halloween. Another offensive costume for people. Jeffrey Dahmer is very offensive and wrong.
Yeah.
And that's a big one on the list. Why? It's Halloween. It's about horror. It's about scary and evil and stuff. Dahmer was horror. If maybe Jeffrey Dahmer actually eating a trick-or-treater would be a bad thing.
I think it's because even though it's not like glorifying it, it's glorifying it. Like it's giving some type of positive light to such a negative situation. Like Jeffrey Dahmer was the real thing. Like he killed real humans, you know, like, you know what I mean? We're not talking like a Halloween Michael Myers situation.
Right, but it's an evil person, and I mean, you want to glorify it. That's what's Netflix doing?
Well, I know. I don't think they should be doing that either. And that is part of our media in this world of what we find acceptable or what they find acceptable to put out there versus what, you know, realistically we should really be saying without being worried of, you know, offending somebody or.
Have to say,
you got one of the longest running shows lately that has like what, 4 or 5 spinoffs, The Walking Dead. It's
Yeah.
all about zombies and shit like
Yeah.
that. And that's the biggest shit on TV.
Yeah.
But there's still so many people out there who still tie in Halloween with Satanism and shit like that. And then they try to tie that into conspiracy theories. They tie that into being in the militia and doing shit that you aren't supposed to be doing, and all kinds of crazy, stupid stuff.
Well, there's people who are
They don't have no brains.
they're overthinkers. They think
Well-
too much, maybe. And then
Well,
there
like you said,
things-
when you were talking, you said it's not Michael Myers, because Michael Myers isn't real. But a guy in a jumpsuit wearing a mask is real. Anybody could pull that off. Anybody could do anything. If I walk into a room at a party and I'm looking like Michael Myers or Jeffrey Dahmer or anything like that, and people are freaked and weirded out, I did my job.
You are so right. That's my son's favorite. Like, Michael Myers is his go-to. I think I've spent more money on Michael Myers masks and costumes in this child's lifetime. Ironically, he this is like kind of a creepy like fact to share with people, but Michael Myers' birthday is October 19th, 1950 something. My son's birthday is October 19th. But he was 2006, but he has been like obsessed with Michael Myers since he was like 3. And I have people to attest to this, but yeah. I mean, I know Michael Myers it's like it's a real thing. It's like he's a real character. They're both like stories, but the Jeffrey Dahmer story is also very real. But
nobody would have cared if there wasn't a Netflix special. People wearing the costume is not who popularized it. Those specials are what popularized it. And if somebody walked in a Jeffrey Dahmer costume and that series had never aired, nobody would give a shit. Be like, that's a cool costume.
you're right. Exactly. So we let media glorify certain beings, like, and this is who like we look up to as these are our people who entertain us, or however we want to look at it.
Going through a list of some of them, a Holocaust victim. Obviously, you can understand something like that. That could be offensive. You shouldn't do it. Just a victim, period, works. Tragedy doesn't always make for great costumes, but I knew somebody won second place shortly after the Oklahoma City bombing. I know it's a long time ago, and they came tattered with burn marks, and it was,
Really?
I survived the Oklahoma City bombing. And it was wrong in so many levels. It really was. But at the same time, it was creative. It was creepy. Right. It did bring our deep, dark thoughts to our head, which is, to me, even though they're not always pleasant, sometimes what Halloween is about. It's about those dark thoughts. It's about being haunted by things like that. And in a sense, it can also be a reminder of a tragedy that you shouldn't forget. Even though you're using it in more of a fun way, it can be a reminder of a tragedy. I'm going to ask people out there, too, anybody out there, what do you think is an offensive costume? Do you think that too many costumes are offensive, or there's certain ones that should be? Another one that's on the list, of course, I said anything involving blackface, which I kind of disagree. I think for entertainment purposes, I think you should be allowed to for certain aspects of the blackface. But I understand where people are coming from, but they say, because you don't know all the stuff we've been through and stuff like that, but neither do they half the time. They didn't go through it either.
I had years back, I went with 3 girls, and we were Charles Manson and 3 of his followers. All right. Had the little X's, in between our eyes and stuff. And I thought it was a really good idea. And the thing is there was another person that showed up there at the same bar, and he was Charles Manson. He had Sharon Tate, someone dressed up as Sharon Tate, pregnant, with a knife stuck in the stomach. They threw them out.
Really?
And I thought, you know what? That was a spectacular idea. It was a spectacular idea, and everyone took it in the wrong way.
Well, I mean,
it's horror. It's death.
Yeah, it is, and obviously it was not real, but that rubs somebody the wrong way. Clearly someone in the line.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It rubbed somebody the wrong way.
Exactly, and that's the problem all around. look at the consensus, like in any instance we're talking, people get rubbed the wrong way, and one person gets butt hurt, and then it just can go from there.
My thoughts at the point in time were who in there, honestly, with odds, going with the odds, uh, had someone in their life who was pregnant where they cut the baby out of them. You know,
I
what's
mean,
the odds of
I
that
get that,
being?
but
You know,
if you grab that from the costume, if you see even the Sharon Tate costume or anything like that, and you grab that deep shade, you need to see a psychiatrist.
yeah.
Because you're the one harboring all that thought and fear, and your mind immediately goes there instead of, wow, good
Right.
costume.
Yeah.
What
Well,
was that?
Bill.
you get a lot
You
of
cut
people
out.
who she's going in and out.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead,
I
Bill.
heard her. You have so many people that, and it's weird because I talk to people because, I mean, Keith knows I watch every damn horror movie there is, especially around Halloween because I want to see them. And they're all like crap lately. But talking to people, they watch Halloween movies that they know cannot be real. All right. But like my friends will not watch Paranormal Activity. They will not watch any of that stuff. They will not watch any of the stuff where you go underground and you can be trapped and you don't know what's down there and stuff. Anything like that. Anything that's out in the open, like Michael Myers, Jason, stuff like that. And they won't watch the other stuff. And I understand it because people have this thing is like, I can watch what's not real, but anything that possibly could be real. Now, Paranormal Activity is all in each person's mind of what they think could be real or it can't be real. So,
Yeah, if you want to take it to that extent, if you fear, like you said, the stuff from Paranormal Activity, then by all means, yeah, the costume got to you a little bit. Don't ruin it for the 98% of the people that enjoyed the
Yeah.
effort, the time, and the thought you put in to making a scary Halloween costume. You know what? Serial killers are scary.
Right.
Um,
I like that when you can cross that threshold into like scary slash steeping into gore. Like I like that Halloween you have that extra threshold that you can cross over. I don't and I get like again, some people get butthurt over certain things. It's a shame. But
Rhonda says that I guess I feel Halloween is more non-fictional. When it comes to real life tragedy costumes, I guess I frown upon. And to a point, I do agree. Like with some of the real life tragedy costumes, like I mentioned the Oklahoma City bombing, and I thought it was a costume in poor taste. Do not get me wrong, but it was original. And I hope that doesn't become a thing. And I wouldn't expect Spirit Halloween to be selling a costume like that.
right.
But where does the line end at that point? Because now, if you're just going to be a serial killer, which I saw one, which was Frosted Flakes and Fruit Loops and knives through them on their outfit as a serial killer. But I mean, is that offensive now because there are real serial killers? Are we going to get to that point? Are ghosts going to be
You get
offensive to
people-
religious fanatics?
No, but
you have people that still have the situation in their head that
yeah.
that imitation is the greatest form of flattery, and they think that if you imitate them, you dress up like them, that you're flattering them, that you're supporting them, and whatever. And people got shit in their head.
Right.
And I knew this one would happen. Another one that's anything transphobic. Guys being women or women being guys. Totally not allowed anymore. Which really makes me think back now on my boy George. I didn't see this before I went and did it.
What do you mean? Like they're saying people are against?
Yep, transphobic costumes you should not do. Anything that where a gender is a different gender should not be worn.
Okay, so I thought in a world where we're supposed to be so accepting and like inclusive and welcoming, if you will, of people, why is there that seclusion of that for?
Because nobody wants to be part of the group. And nobody anymore, 10 years ago, the fight was to be part of society, to be an equal part of society in the group. Or I would say maybe 20 years ago. Now the fight is to be above the rest of the group, to have say in what they do, to not be offended by things you do because you're not. You're lower than us. I'm not saying it's right to offend people. But as this goes on, we will find every costume in every way to be offensive. As the most you can do is, hi, I'm Keith with glasses today. That's my outfit.
Right.
You know, it's
Yeah.
going to have to do with hair color. You're making fun of the Irish right now. God knows we're going to get flack for that.
Watch it.
Right.
Well, I mean, that's the extent it's going to get to.
Well, yeah, if we let it carry on, but we just have to, like, at some point, somebody's got to put their foot down and say, okay, no, like, enough is enough. Like, this is okay, and we are not gonna get a visitor. This is okay, and we're not gonna, cause a fuss. Look,
Aw, adorable.
and she's so
Yep,
cute.
there's a
She's
cat
very
on there.
cute. Other thing, I'm just going through the list here. A couple that are on here. One is like fat suits. Can't wear a fat
Offensive.
suit.
Oh,
Why?
but
You know what?
they're-
Somebody came into the bar dressed as me one year. It was fucking hilarious. He doesn't know my struggle. He doesn't need to know my struggle. It was a great outfit. You could easily tell who he was. You know?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but I when you cross a line into now your vision of a costume is to like specifically like hone in on this one person, like I don't know, like that's intentionally trying to make somebody feel bad.
I thought it was funny. I guess that's where my disconnect comes in. What makes somebody so offended? Again, imitation sincere as form of flattery does not exist anymore.
Yeah.
No, you're right.
But
No, yeah, I get what you're saying, but it also doesn't exist anymore because neither does the personality of of the people in that age group, really, or like the younger kids they're a lot more biased to some strange things of why they don't like a person. Like it's they're not going to be trying to imitate, they're going to be trying to, that's where I don't know,
Okay,
a lot
but
of
that's so fucking stupid.
huh,
And the reason I'm really saying this is, like you just said, the younger kids. The younger kids did not grow up with these people that they feel they're being offensive dressed as. The adults did, and they had no offense to this till the younger kids decided something that happened before I was born, before I ever knew, before I ever lived through is not allowed for you to do, even though you did live through it and you know the meaning behind it and you're smart enough to understand it. Unfortunately, I'm a dumb kid and I'm too fucking stupid to figure out the difference between reality and fiction.
no, I know, but it's happening. Like, we all see it. Like you're so passionate about it because it is happening. Like it's the younger generations behind us who have now. I mean, they're grown now, but they're the ones who are initiating some of the gripe and running their mouths about it. What does she say? What does Ron say?
I'll get to it in a second. Go ahead.
But they're the ones who are like causing the fuss. And
Rhonda says,
there's
"Oh,
Karens out there too who they pick up along the way. They build they build momentum as they speak their garbage about being so offended about certain things.
so do you think Bonnie and Clyde's a bad outfit now?
No, I think it's
Why? They were real
fun.
people."
Yeah, but I mean,
Because they didn't, that's what I'm saying is our philosophy on that. They didn't exist in our time. They're fictional heroes to
yeah,
us. They're real, but they're fictional heroes.
right.
Or not heroes, that was wrong. Fictional anti-heroes,
Well, to me,
fictional villains.
Actually, they were heroes to a lot of people, but yeah.
That's why I said anti-heroes, actually, in a way. So,
Okay.
like me,
Oh, okay, I didn't hear that part.
it's not about the beautiful princesses and the like in the the just everything's so pretty and perfect. It's like to me, Halloween was always about the scare and the gore and
right.
the different and unusual and the maybe the thing that would creep you out the worst, horror.
It's All Hallows Eve. It's
Yeah.
Day of the Dead. I mean, that's what it
It's
is.
literally
Samhain.
Day of the Dead,
that's
right.
What
Uh,
that's what it is.
But
Holy
Ron,
like,
Rhonda's comment. Go ahead, finish that. And
is, is it a form of I don't know, calling of the devil?
I mean, if you want to take it that far. Rhonda says, but you also have to know the person you're dressing up as. Would that person be offended? You, of course not. Someone else, maybe. I agree. You kind of have to know that person. If you're dressing up as somebody because they are a joke in their own world, I can see the offense in that because now you're trying to be. But if you're just dressing up like me, even if I was offended, and I'm not going to lie, there was a little part of me that was kind of offended. This guy's in a fat suit. So yeah, but I can overlook that. It's not beyond me. I don't have to create a scene and make everything bad because that was creative. That took balls. That was brave. That deserves some sort of recognition to that point. You know, this person didn't actually know me, but now we're saying we can't be a sumo wrestler if we wanted to be because, well, they're fat. And that's just with the fat suit thing. There's so many, and I'm not going to go through the rest of the list. There's one for just like any celebrity who's dead you can't dress up as. And you also can't dress up as a dead version of that celebrity.
Yeah.
Pick one.
Celebrities dress up as celebrities all the time, and whether or not the media picks and chooses how they say, okay, maybe this is good, maybe this is bad, stuff like that. You had Megan Fox and Machine Gun Kelly dressed up as Pam Anderson and Tommy Lee. All right. And
that's promoting infidelity. I don't like it.
Right. Part of the media said, hey, this is awesome. This is hilarious. And then other part of the media said, is this a shot at them? Okay. That's what they're doing. It's just, tons of people dress up as celebrities. One of the biggest things that happened years back, which it's just like, you can't do that now, like Keith was saying, was when RuPaul got big on TV.
Yeah.
All right. You had people of all genders, all different, everything that they had going on in the world, would dress up as RuPaul and drag and then strip off the dress and have on one of his crazy suits. And that was their Halloween costume.
Yeah.
And that's a ton of money, you know, but now it's not supposed to be right.
How about this? I'm going to read one more here because this one I just came across as I was getting ready to close it. A person in a straitjacket. Not allowed.
Really?
That person's already fucking crazy. I'm not really worried about offending them.
No, and that's
Right.
that's part
And that's not a certain person. That could be anybody.
Go ahead.
that's part of that line that you're able to cross on Halloween. Like, you know, like that's just. I mean, what is a person in a straight jacket so offensive about? Like,
well, they're crazy. Thus, you're making fun of the mentally ill people or people with mental difficulties, and you shouldn't be making fun of them.
I mean,
we have a show based on the fact that everybody has mental problems.
Yeah.
You know, we all deal with it sometimes. You cannot take everything to offense. I don't want to get angry because I thought it was going to be a little more fun than the anger aspect of it. But I just feel like you don't want to do Dracula, a witch, a ghost.
Right.
And the Mummy anymore. You know, you can't do wolf because that's, I guess, animal cruelty. And, you know, but, you know, you don't want to do that anymore. So people started coming up with creative ideas, and it was about creativity.
Yeah.
And
did you ever have years where you made your own Halloween costume from the things you had at home?
Yeah.
Like, you were just like put together. Did you ever do that, Bill? I had many a years where I was just like, okay, I got some like mismatched clothes, mismatched socks. Like I was a hobo one year. I don't remember. I did different things, but I just
mine was always makeup. I mean, I learned how to do latex makeup when I was young.
Yeah,
before you saw anyone else doing it. My friends had the stuff. I knew how to do latex makeup. I mean, every year when I won the contest and stuff like that, it was me with part of my face sliding off.
Yes.
And I'd have it hanging on my shirt or hanging on my overalls.
Yes.
You know, stuff like that. So, I mean, that's the stuff I always did. And you do what you can, and it's supposed to be fun.
Yeah, it's supposed to be.
I think that's the whole point. Is it's just that people are so set that they have to cause a problem. Maybe pandemic's a lot to blame for this because people held a lot inside and they came out bitter.
And but politics.
I feel like Halloween though was losing interest for many years though. Like my kids are, you know, well, my youngest one is 16, and from all those years of them growing up and trick-or-treating, it was like less and less and less. But I mean, like, again, the trunk or treating came into play, but was it out of like fear or just lack of participation, or
I think you're right in a lot of that. I think that it's an easy way out. It's
yeah,
something easy to do. We go, we open our trunk, we sit there and chit chat and have a beer, and just hand out the candy real quick, and we're done, and we go home, and we're good.
yeah, yeah, and then we don't have to
Just
do
so
it.
you know, in Hazel Park, Scout Park's behind my house, Keith, as you know. They do trunk or treat over there, so there's two things. There is no alcohol allowed. So you just talk to people, but you cannot walk over there and hand out candy because you don't have a car.
Oh,
Yeah, I've seen that actually on a few of those now.
But when they first year they had it over there, I went over there with a big old box of candy, and the lady in Hazel Park, I won't mention that fucking bitch's name, but
Now,
she just looked at me and told me, she goes, "You don't have a car, you can't hand out candy." I said, "Why?" And they write down the people's license plate numbers that are
really?
there.
wow. Now, the point of this episode, of course, is not to really bash Halloween, because
Yeah,
I do believe Halloween is a great holiday,
I love Halloween.
and I think it's fantastic. Happy Halloween, Joe. Good to see you on here.
Oh, I had
Hey,
no
Joe.
So, but it's about what I think has happened in our frog and boiling water situation, and that we've got to get back to enjoying the spirit. And something you said, Nikki, and you too, Bill, about the and myself, is laziness and just people don't want to do it. The best Halloween memories come from the tradition experience. I don't see. Do you bake pumpkin seeds with your kids? How many? I don't see a lot of jack o' lanterns. Do people carve them anymore?
right.
They're very
Exactly.
rarely done. We used to.
There,
My meal every Halloween, thanks to my mom, and Joe's on here, he knows this because he's my brother, is every Halloween we would get Sloppy Joes, which I didn't
Yeah.
make this year. I'm so pissed. And we would just watch scary movies after
Yeah.
trick or treating. Our friends would come over in the living room. We have an air mattress blown up, or sometimes just blanket. And that's the stuff that makes Halloween.
Yeah.
If you're going to kill so many things when it comes to costuming, tradition, trick or treating, bring back the themes that really made you remember the day.
Yes.
do you think
Uh,
it's going to come back?
Oh,
Well,
nice. Rhonda says she did it all this year, Sloppy Joe Night. Rhonda is on the verge of bringing it back.
awesome.
And that's what counts.
People just have to do it. I'm the first to say I'm guilty this year. I just was not into Halloween, but I had a lot. I mean, like I had 2 major back surgeries within a 2-month period, so I was like I get a hall pass for this year, but I still tried. Like I like to do theme dinners, so I do like this year was worms and eyeballs, and it was really
I've seen people do that. I've never done that, but I've seen people do that. I think that's really cool when they do.
yeah. I've always done themed meals, and yeah,
Okay.
we've always like baked the pumpkin seeds. I like to actually put some flavoring on them, like done cinnamon and sugar.
I've done that, yeah.
You can do some with garlic, like
All I do is suck it and spit it anyway. That sounds really bad, but that's all I do with them anyway.
this is what I do.
Wrong show, sorry.
But yeah,
Hey,
yeah. So
we talk about the
did it.
sex show without my gay friends being here to watch.
But yeah. So I think that we have to bring back, and Rhonda, you're on the right path, but it's our fault as well.
Yeah.
And I want to take the blame, and I want to blame Lucky Lady even with her past. I don't think it's necessarily the best excuse, and the King, I'm going to blame you too, and everybody else out
Nikki, see
there,
my cat, Nikki.
except for Rhonda, because what happens is we get so disillusioned with all this stuff going on Halloween, and we skip a year.
yeah,
Or we're bothered by the offensive and the people aren't into it. We say, well, if they're not into it, well, I'm not going to really do anything this year. And we're part of the problem that is a waterfall that's, pushing this holiday into obscurity, which of all holidays of the year, this is a personal opinion, this should not be the one. You can get rid of fucking Christmas and I'll be more happy than getting rid of Halloween.
that's not gonna happen. But like,
But if it was a choice between the two,
yeah,
Halloween's cheap compared to Christmas.
true. Yeah,
But because of the fact that Christmas is based on a religious situation, they aren't. But the thing is,
So is
Christmas so fucking
Halloween.
commercial. It's unbelievable. I know, and I try to tell people that, and no one listens.
yeah.
I
Christmas
got
is so
I got it.
commercialized. Christmas is not really about the correct things. And this is a whole other show. Like we could get into a whole other show.
Oh, I know.
So I'm not even gonna go there,
But talk about offense. You know, that holiday itself offends enough people
yeah,
based on what it's really. And I'm not saying I disagree with it or anything, because you know
yeah,
Christmas is a cool holiday.
yeah.
But I mean, you're not going to cancel Christmas. That offends half of the population, not half,
Right.
but a good portion of the population. But actually, Christmas, I believe, is responsible for some of the lack of interest in Halloween too. Because I'm going to the stores now. I went in the second week of October to a store. There was a small section for Halloween, and Christmas taking up a quarter of the fucking store.
Yes, already. They've already got Christmas commercials out on TV.
Right.
I'm
Oh
already seeing
yeah,
Christmas commercials already.
Ace Hardware had Christmas stuff
Yes,
in their stores October 1st.
yes.
Mm. It shouldn't. November 1st at the earliest. I don't mind getting ready for Thanksgiving. A lot of people decorate for Thanksgiving and start to get in the Christmas spirit. Leave Halloween fucking alone.
Yeah,
Rhonda says,
Halloween and like Thanksgiving gets a bad rap, even though it's like an awesome. It's an awesome. I love Thanksgiving. I not like
that one's going to be gone in a few years, probably, too.
no.
Just because of what
It,
it stands for.
I mean, my family will still always
When I
consider
say gone,
us a family. What what we're thankful for.
I think people should, and I think that's right. And what you do is right, and I think people will still celebrate, but that's coming under fire too.
Yeah.
Everything is coming
Oh,
under
yeah,
fire.
everything is.
Rhonda says that she had some very aggressive kids one year, and we quit doing trick or treating due to them. This is our first time back after a 5-year break. And question for you, Rhonda, how did it feel? Did you really miss it? And I question this because when I do something like that, I look back and say, what did I do for the last 5 years if it was me in this situation because of a bunch of aggressive kids? You know, and I let them destroy my fun. Or did you feel, no, this was worth it, not worth it, I gotta stop, I can't do this anymore? Just out of curiosity, Joe says, this year was the biggest thing I've ever had in many years. Over 200 kids came by our house. Now that's a great turnout.
That's an awesome.
What area does Joe live in?
Yeah, he's in Livonia, Michigan.
So you have a lot of houses in your neighborhood that are like really doing it up for the kids, like to give them an attraction to come to.
And he says the biggest year they had in many, many years. Yeah, and I think that's what it is too, in decorating the house. And I am guilty this year. I'm distraught over a lot of things right now. This has not been a good last few weeks for me. That was more played into my lack of Halloween than the holiday and what everybody has been against. That what I've been going through definitely played into that. Rhonda says that she missed it terribly. It felt amazing. I was just sad that we didn't have very many kids. But what you're doing is right, and I'm going to ask wholeheartedly, don't stop, because
Right.
maybe your neighbors will start. Maybe they will, and kids will start to come. And this, thinking back in Michigan, if anybody doesn't know what Tilden Street is, it's a street in Michigan. It's famous statewide and beyond. And they completely decorate the shit out of that street for like 3 city blocks. And it's better than any haunted house practically with the amount of effort they put in. And that started with just one person outrageously decorating their house.
Well,
And
and
it's infectious.
that's what Coleman Street is, and it just and it's really picked up like some momentum. And then I know there's like it's a group of homes in Clinton Town that all do like their own like houses or whatever. Map out, but it's like within a couple mile radius of each other. Where Coleman Street, like Pilsen Street, where it's like it seems like more people are like, cool, yeah, like that because it's cool.
Yeah, and that's what it is. And Rhonda's gotta keep it going, because I think that's great that you do that.
Well,
And that's what we got to do. Bring back Halloween. Instead of condemning everything about it, let's fight to bring it back.
well,
Wear costumes every day.
I was thinking about a group of rowdy
You're cutting out there, Nikki.
couple of years. Okay.
Yeah, it's just your mic's cutting out. Go ahead.
But what I was saying was a group of rowdy kids kind of ruined it at her house for a couple of years. And, we can bring it back, but people have to mind their manners. They were getting rowdy over on Coleman Street. I was talking to my son, and it was bumper to bumper traffic of people trying to come through and see it. And there was some road rage happening. So
And I don't mean this to demean Rhonda's issue at all when I say this, but fuck the kids. The thing is that there's always going to be a group of asshole kids. There was a group of asshole kids that stole our candy when we were trick-or-treating as kids. There was a group of asshole kids that egged or TP'd things. By the way, Devil's Night is sorely missed. I want somebody to TP my
Yes.
house.
yeah.
Like,
Hey, tonight's Devil's Night, right? And he's like, yeah, I guess. And I'm thinking, like, when I was a kid, we would have to bring in our pumpkins, and it was like, like an extra addition to Halloween. It was like, is anybody going to come try to steal our pumpkins was always the thing, or smash our pumpkins. But
Save your lunch money for a week and buy eggs and buy toilet paper and shaving cream.
yeah, and
I mean, don't get me wrong. We went way above that. I'll tell a
Don't
short
do
story
arson.
real quick.
Okay.
No, we went way above that. We actually, so I'm a redneck and my friends are rednecks and we were hunters, and we actually had skeletal remains and not so much skeletal remains of animals that we put all over the place all the time.
ew, that's gross.
Get out of people.
That'll do it. That'll definitely creep some people out.
Gross.
But
Ew.
Oh, hell yeah.
to continue on, Rhonda, because I did say I didn't want to demean it, but I didn't finish the statement, so I don't want you to think that I was dismissing it altogether. But I was going to say, fuck those kids, because they're always going to be there, and I'm glad you came back and did it this year.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to punish yourself for so many years because of a small group of idiot kids. Rhonda says cameras took all that fun away. Well, if we could wear the right mask, it wouldn't matter. So...
for that holiday or that like gets you in spirit of that season, but when you don't decorate, it's like you can't, like, it just didn't feel like
if you toilet paper my house, you're decorating for me.
right.
Like, and I know that in a sense it's considered vandalism, but most of the Halloween Devil's Night pranks are not that bad. Sure, you've got to clean it up. Poor fucking worthless, wasted life, lazy you has to clean up some toilet paper or egg mess. I'm not talking the highly destructive vandalism. I'm talking about just the fun vandal stuff. I loved going out and seeing the houses that did get TP'd, even if it was my own. And it brought you to the meaning that this is a holiday of mischief.
Yes, but it's because people did get carried away and took it above and beyond that. It got pushed as no, you're not allowed to do that anymore.
Well, you know what? People went above and beyond too. So yeah, keep the cameras. Yeah. And don't let people, and definitely get to the people who are doing very extreme unwanted acts of vandalism.
Yeah.
People who are committing arson, by all means, and it should deter them. But, you shouldn't call the cops or anything because you got TP'd. Well, or egged, or had a flaming bag of dog poop on your doorstep.
When we were in school, all the teams, so like the baseball team, the football team, softball team, wrestling team, the cheerleaders, the majorettes, they all picked out somebody whose house they were going to toilet paper. Plus, we did the teachers and the coaches' houses.
We used to do their cars in school.
Yeah.
Like there was... People forget they're on such a path to make everything peachy keen, perfect and bright and beautiful. Yeah. They forget the joy in a little harmless mischief, and it is harmless mischief and stuff that gets you in the mood and realizing what it is. And you've taken that away, and it helps promote the mood. And we had rules on Devil's Night. We could go out, and we had to be home by a certain time. We had to be careful. There was things... Nikki froze up on us. I don't know if she's going to be there. But Rhonda is here. Hopefully you'll be back in a second, Nikki. Says, I will TP the shit out of your house next year. Yes! Please fucking do! Hey, that means you're coming over. That's awesome.
Why wait till next year?
Because she's being kind to me. She's going to do it for Devil's Night. That's why. So let's go into one more thing here, probably our last topic, because this isn't going to be a very long show. We said we weren't going to do that. And we're going to actually hit on something that has changed definitely, and it has to do with the atmosphere and actually movies. I want to hit on the Halloween movies, because we were talking a lot about that, me and Bill, that movies aren't even the same anymore. And I think a lot of that has to do, again, with people being offended or people trying to do different things. We're going to be talking briefly about the movie Halloween Ends as well, and we're going to be spoiling some things there too. So when you see this little banner pop up, it means we're talking about it. I'm going to hide it for now, so just so you know. So we were just talking, Nikki, the movies, the entertainment, and the TV when it comes to the Halloween season
Yeah.
has also taken out of the spirit.
Yeah.
Have there any been good Halloween episodes of any shows? Did anybody see any? Even Roseanne took a step back. Well, the Connors.
Yeah.
Yes, they did. That was awful. I hated that shit. But I'm watching the old Roseanne stuff right now. It's on the TV.
I
Just
did
don't
see
watch,
a few. I saw a few Halloween episodes.
Not watching, but
Yeah.
Which ones did you see, Nikki?
What was it? Hold on, let me think for a second. No, not Family Matters. Sophia.
Golden Girls.
No, the Italian lady, Sophia Vergara or whatever. Modern Family.
Modern Family.
They did a Halloween episode. I don't.
Are they still on? I thought Modern Family was gone.
Coming in the house, but I'm very sad that they took away Charlie.
Charlie Brown, Great Pumpkin.
Pumpkin, yeah.
And a lot of them go to streaming services, which is absolutely ridiculous.
I know. Yeah, I know.
Rhonda says, watch Halloween 4 tonight. Totally sucked. Out of curiosity, did you watch Halloween 4 as in Halloween Ends, or Halloween 4 as Halloween 4 the Revenge of Michael Myers?
The
Return of Michael Myers. The Return of Michael Myers was the first one done back in the 80s.
Okay.
But technically, by the current timeline with the new movies, Halloween 4 would be Halloween Ends. That's why I'm asking which one she's referring to on that.
Got you.
But yeah, they took it off. They sent these Halloween specials to streaming. Again, you're taking away things that put us in the spirit. And as well as, I actually didn't mind Return, Rhonda. She says you watch Halloween Returns. I actually didn't mind that one as much. At least it stayed in focus a little bit to being a Michael Myers movie, but I did think the series went way far downhill. But we don't have the specials. We don't have commercials. I'm not seeing as many commercials. Everything around me around Halloween, and if you ever watch any of the movies or anything like that, people watch Halloween. I'm going to use the Halloween films, obviously, because they take place on Halloween. And you look at the things. Everything's decorated. Kids are running around. The houses are all creepy. Everybody's like, wow, that's kind of cool. That'd be neat. That's what it was like. That's what it used to be. You used to see nothing but Halloween stuff going down the streets. There was not a mention of Christmas. Every store was Halloween related. You walked into Kmart back in the day and you went through almost a haunted house type area with candy and costumes and stuff like that. I don't know. You probably remember that, Bill.
8 aisles of stuff.
Yeah. Like, it was amazing stuff. And we've lost it. There's nothing to pull us in. And it's no wonder as individuals, we're just like, I don't care about Halloween because nothing has pulled you back into the spirit. If anything, you're disgusted by the amount of Christmas that's around. It almost angers you. Rhonda says, time warp, baby. Miss them days. Well, we can bring those back. Yeah, I actually sang that this year, too. I did it as Boy George, but I sang it.
Every year, I still watch Rocky Horror Picture Show every year. I can't help it. It always is, always was, always will be. Even though it's not like the Halloween thingy, but it was stuff that we did on Halloween.
It's still costume.
When we got older,
still fantasy.
We went and saw the show all the time. Yeah.
And it's still something that was played at midnight, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday on Halloween weekend in theaters.
Yes, and it was always hilarious because you had the new people. Nikki's having difficulty.
I saw that.
You had the new people when you're in line. Rip, stop. When you're in line and you're carrying all the stuff, you got the toast, you got the rice, you got all the shit in your hand. Everyone said, what are you doing carrying that? I said, don't sit down front.
So what about movies? We're going to discuss the new Halloweens because I want to touch on that. We're going to do a whole show about it. We're just going to touch on it in the end here. But it's hard to find a good, scary Halloween film anymore. Scream 5 pointed it out in the beginning that Halloween, that people prefer kids, and they're always talking about the elevated horror and stuff like that. And do you think it's taken away a lot? That is what movies are becoming in a lot of ways.
Yes, but it's you got into we're into the area, unfortunately, just like, oh my gosh, I hate even saying this, but Friday the 13th. What are we on? Jason number 28, 35, 42, whatever, where he's in outer space. Maybe he's down somewhere. I don't know. That it's not. It's not. The first Friday the 13th was great because, no one thought the old lady was there. And it's just like the trivia questions. Who was the first murderer in Friday the 13th? And everyone always says Jason Voorhees, and it's not. And Keith knows it. But it's that type of stuff, and I watch everything. And to me, and this is where I scare people when I say none of this stuff scares me, but I watch it. But I've got to where, and I think, Keith, you have too, we sit there anymore because it's not great. And then all of a sudden, we're not even watching the movie to watch a movie. We're watching the movie to fucking analyze it because it's not good.
That's very true. And the problem, and this is, I guess, good for independent film companies. The problem is because they're changing horror so much, and Rhonda agrees, but it's more sexy than horror, which is, like, I get that. I can understand wanting that. But you're not appealing to both audiences anymore. You're so busy trying to appeal to the audience that wants you to change everything to be PC for them that you're forgetting the good thing. We got to rely on independent filmmakers. Now, I know, King, you saw the new Terrifier. You weren't impressed. But you have to turn to an independent filmmaker to make a movie like Terrifier that at least brings back the slasher gore movie. The things we like. And we got to deal with an independent film over a well-produced film with the same results. And I'm not saying independent films are bad. Many are very, very good. But they're not afraid. So why is Hollywood? And now we're going to go into...
No, they're not.
Go ahead.
They're not, and there's nothing wrong with that, and I understand that and stuff like that. There's just different stuff. Like I said, there's too many producers, directors, and writers out there that just want the money, and they want to keep extending something stupid and everything like that. And like I said, the whole Halloween Ends, all right, this last one, all right, Jason's already had his head cut off, and he still came back.
Michael.
He's already had this happen to him, or Michael, and he's already done all this. All right, they put him through a grinder. How is that making him not stop it? How is that making him not come back?
Because again, it's all about people are selfish now, especially when it comes to the filmmaking world. They've always been selfish when it comes to money. Now, Halloween Ends was one of the worst things you could have done at all to the Halloween or any franchise in the world. They did what Star Wars and Jurassic Park did. Star Wars pretty much abandoned the previous two movies. Why? Because no writing, no direction, and gave us something that was totally unrelated, that was its own vision, that didn't care about the fans as much as just trying to throw candy at them and doing things your way. Jurassic Park promised a movie, Jurassic World, about dinosaurs free roaming the earth, and spent 5 minutes in the beginning and 5 minutes in the end on that topic, and the rest was like every other fucking movie. But giving credit to them, they at least stuck with it. Jurassic World still had dinosaurs. Star Wars still had your main characters as a theme, throughout it. Halloween said fuck Michael Myers on the third movie of a concluding trilogy to a series. They rewrote the story. They tried to be creative. He says, David Gordon Green says, I wanted to make a love story, not for the third movie. The movie was actually not a bad movie. Halloween Ends was not a bad movie. The problem is it was not a Halloween movie. It was not a concluding chapter to a trilogy. And you're fucking with people. You're fucking up people's, their memories, what they've loved, what they grew up with, what they've stood by. They've seen every movie, good or bad, that you ever made because it contains an iconic character. And on the last movie of some kind of franchise, you're going to go against everything you even previously written in the first two films to create something totally different. And you're trying to be ironic, but you're pissing off a fan base. You're not just, it wasn't what we expected. You're saying, I'm intentionally taking this away from you. And horror movies are doing that. That's why people are afraid to make new horror movies and stuff. And you don't have to make another Jason. You do not have to make another Freddy, even though you should, because I'll go see it. Why? Because you stick with the theme that we like to see this guy kill. We like to see this murder and how it happens. That is the theme of your movies. You should have finished off the trilogy, created another movie called Season of the Witch 2, and that would have been Halloween Ends. You could have. And you could have tied Season of the Witch into the new franchise and created a new franchise from that.
How long do you think it's going to be, all right, from this point in time, see how we just watched it, that somebody else picks it up and rewrites another script on it.
I would have originally said probably 8 to 10 years, but now after it's released, I believe it's going to be sooner. Because I think a lot of people are going to want to right the wrongs that were done during that film.
I believe someone's going to get into it by next year.
I would say within 2 or 3, but yeah, it could be by next year. We'll definitely hear news about it. All right, we're done with talking about Halloween Ends. I just wanted to bring that up really quick because it pissed me off. We were going to go do a whole show about how much that movie pissed us off, but see it for yourself. Just don't expect a Michael Myers film. That's all I can say to you. Expect an original film, and you might like it. If you've never seen a Halloween, you might really enjoy it. If you know anything like that, you might actually enjoy what they produce. But if you're a fan of Halloween at all, it's not the film for you. Finally, I'm going to end with this, and I'm going to actually talk a bit about the ESV panel because it directly relates to this and Halloween. Some people think that when it comes to Christmas or Thanksgiving, people say things like nobody should spend Thanksgiving alone, nobody should spend Christmas alone, or Easter, or days like that. And it's very important. The thing is, that works for all holidays. Even Halloween, people still need help. They still need to be included and want to be wanted. A lot of people, like I said, my favorite holiday is Halloween. And it comes from a lot of memories I have. I'm never going to get my mom making those sloppy joes again. I don't have the kids to share that holiday with and try to pass that tradition. I spend what I used to enjoy doing appeasing a bar full of drunks. And don't get me wrong, I enjoy my job, but that's what I do. And I spent Halloween sitting alone with nothing going on. And I had 2 people cancel plans they even made with me, which is one of the reasons we're doing the show. And it tears me up inside because these are the greatest memories that I have as a child when it comes to a holiday. Halloween always was the biggest memory, the haunted houses, everything we did that I just don't get back. And it puts people like myself into a form of depression as well, and sadness, and worrying that these times aren't going to come back. And if they're not coming back, why are they here? And they go into some deep thought, and they go into some very traumatic thought, and even I do on occasion with stuff like this. People need you around. And the reason I'm bringing up the panel on this is a lot of us figure that once our problems have been solved, everybody else's has been too. And it just doesn't exist. So no matter what the day, invite people out with you, and you could have a lot more fun, especially on like a Halloween holiday, if you got a group of people together to do a trick-or-treat thing at your house, to do up your yard, to scare kids, one of the best things to do in the world, to scare kids. Get a group, invite them to have your own little private Halloween horror marathon. And invite people around. People still need contact. And just because the pandemic's over, or pseudo over, you know what I mean, doesn't mean that people's problems got solved. And a lot of people think because they're no longer having an issue, and I've had some people that say thanks to the show they don't have an issue anymore and they stop watching, which is fine. But it's not right to stop helping. And that's what we got to remember. Always look out for people. When you know somebody, and I don't care if it's Halloween like myself, or it's Christmas or Thanksgiving or 4th of July, and their favorite holiday comes along, or moment like that, you need to be there every day, but especially those days, because there's something in their head that made it the favorite holiday. And there's something they're greatly missing if they're not doing it anymore. So never think just because it's Halloween, nobody cares. You can say that about Valentine's Day. Well, you don't have a sweetheart, so, you big deal. Some people lost. Yeah. Some people lost them and stuff. But if it's just because you want to stay single, okay, don't celebrate Valentine's Day and people don't care. But when it's something that used to mean so much to somebody in particular, there's a reason they're alone. And you definitely want to keep them in your hearts and minds and reach out to them. And that's one thing the show tries to do. And we're having a harder and harder time getting people to do it, basically because their problems have ended. And they never truly go away, but they're getting through them now. And we need people on here to do just that. And we need people to do it in real life as well. So no matter the day, no matter what it is, life is more fun in a group. Don't forget to include everyone in the group, especially if you think back, and this is where I stand, if that person was so impactful to your memories, and that's one thing I am. to a lot of people. So if you think of somebody that was really impactful to your memories and they're not celebrating anymore, take a moment and just think about that. Why aren't they celebrating? Be there for them. That's about it. I want to make sure everybody has a very happy Halloween. You guys had a very happy Halloween, as it's only got about an hour and a half left. But you guys have been fantastic on here. Rhonda, I'm so glad you're celebrating again. Joe, I'm glad you had a great busy time. Everybody in the chat, you were awesome. Love to have you here. Bill, you're amazing as well. And I'm glad to see you on here because I know Halloween's been a rough time for all of us, especially getting through. I love you too, Rhonda. Thank you very much.
I got one thing to say, Keith, before you sign off, and I just want to remind people of this. Someone reaches out to you, all right? Let them hear your voice.
I agree with that.
It's a better thing than everything else. It's a better thing than everything else in the world as far as messaging and bullshit like that. If they can hear your voice, if they're actually reaching out to you, let them hear your voice.
Very important. And it's harder to do in today's world because a lot of people would rather text. A lot of people would rather do that. And unfortunately, a lot of people who are reaching out would rather get text. And I'm going to have to say this, and I'm actually saying this due directly to you, Bill, and other people. Sometimes you have to let them know how important that is because they're used to a world where 95% of people do not want to talk to you on the phone. And it hurts because I would rather talk in person. Bill, you would rather talk in person. And if we both had a problem and we both thought each other were texting, we're not going to get very far with that. And sometimes you need to know from the other side. And I got to do the same thing because I'm just as guilty. Sometimes I don't let people know. I want you to call me. I need to talk to you. I need to hear that voice. There's never a time we don't need somebody around. There never is. Even if we seem happy in a good mood, there's never a time. So stay strong. Bill, you stay strong. You've been through a lot. And, well, we both have.
That's why I'm the king.
You are the king. You are the king. Well, with that, I hope you all have a great time. We'll be back shortly with another show coming up soon. I don't know when or why, but hopefully it'll be on a regular schedule again soon. We really got to get back to that.
It's going to be the sex show.
Oh, fudge. Hey. Sex show it is. If you insist, we'll do the sex show.
And my gay friends are going to be in there.
Happy Halloween.